At a kitchen table, a young founder opens a laptop and stares at a blank screen that feels louder than any crowd. The life she planned is gone. The paycheck is gone. But the pulse in her chest is still here. What do you hold on to when the floor drops out from under you? If you've ever stood in that quiet, where fear and possibility breathe the same air, this conversation is for you. Because the promise of this book is simple and brave. Your biggest mistakes can become the exact material you use to build something better. And the image I want you to keep in your mind all the way to the end is that kitchen table. Ordinary, steady, waiting for your next move. The book we're talking about is Mistakes That Made Me a Millionaire by Kim Perell. She's a serial entrepreneur and investor who has lived through the mess, not just studied it from a safe distance. She writes this book now because too many of us only see highlight reels and think we're behind. She wants us to see the middle, the messy, honest, unfiltered middle, because that's where the real growth happens and where the best decisions are forged. Why does this matter today? Because we live in a world that confuses perfect with possible. And this book is a permission slip to choose possible. Here's the heart of it in one breath. Mistakes are not detours. They're raw material. If you keep moving, if you learn, if you act again, your setbacks can become levers. The only mistake you must not make is giving up on yourself. Let's walk through the lessons that matter most in the same voice you'd use with a friend who needs you right now. First, own your story and stop playing small. Many of us learn to shrink our wins, to apologize for being ambitious, to wait for credentials no one will ever hand us. That hesitation grows into a quiet habit of self-sabotage. The book invites you to do the opposite. Instead of asking, "Who am I to try this?" ask, "Who am I not to?" Think of it like stepping from the passenger seat into the driver's seat. You don't need the perfect map. You need the keys. Practically, this looks like building a tiny highlight reel. You can check on hard days, moments you followed through, people you helped, problems you solved. It looks like a daily done list, so your brain sees proof, not just pressure. And it looks like facing storms instead of circling them, because running through the hard thing usually gets you out faster than running from it. The result isn't bravado. It's a quiet competence that builds with every rep. When you own your story, you create momentum, and momentum is kinder than motivation because it shows up even on tired days. The shift is subtle but life-changing, from "I hope I can" to "I'm someone who does." Second, widen your definition of failure and fall in love with the middle. The culture of overnight wins makes the middle feel like failure. It's not. The middle is where you learn what the work is really asking of you. It's where you build patience, systems, and a tolerance for boredom, the unsexy skills that separate dabblers from builders. In the middle, progress looks more like reliability than fireworks. One thoughtful customer call, one clearer landing page, one uncomfortable feedback session. Think of a sculptor chipping a statue from stone. You only see dust for a long time, but the face is forming. The book keeps returning to this truth. You can be exhausted and still be on track. You can be confused and still be growing. When you stop expecting the middle to be glamorous, you stop quitting right before things click. A simple practice helps. Set process goals next to outcome goals. 5 pitches a week, 30 minutes of focused work before email, 2 customer interviews by Friday. These are the bricks that make the bridge. Third, people over ideas. Strong relationships compound faster than any feature set. We often obsess over the perfect product and ignore the people who will build, sell, buy, and believe in it. That's a costly mistake. The book is candid about choosing the wrong partners, trusting the wrong voices, or hiring for resume over resilience. You can avoid some of that pain by learning the difference between impressive and dependable. Impressive dazzles once. Dependable delivers again and again. Hire for adaptability. Work with people who do what they say without being chased. Build a kitchen cabinet circle of 3 to 5 people who tell you the truth, not what you want to hear. And invest first in your side of the relationship. Be the person who follows up, who gives credit, who shares the upside, who fixes things when you're the one who broke them. Partnerships multiply both your mistakes and your momentum. Choose like the stakes are real because they are. Fourth, practice decisive adaptability, the art of pivoting without spinning. A lot of us either cling too long to a sinking plan or quit too fast at the first sign of friction. The work is learning to tell a rough patch from a dead end. One way to do this is with a simple test. Are you earning or learning? If you're earning money, traction, proof, keep building. If you're not earning yet, but you're learning in ways that obviously increase your odds, keep going a little longer. If you're neither earning nor learning, change something now. Another approach is to run small experiments instead of grand gestures. Put a tiny version of the new idea in front of real users by Friday. Name what success looks like in advance. If the signal beats the threshold, double down. If not, cut it. This is how you protect your energy from endless maybes. It's also how you grow your judgment. The point isn't to be right on day one. It's to get less wrong with speed and compassion.
Fifth, treat mistakes as data, not identity. It sounds simple. It isn't. A botched launch can whisper, "You're not cut out for this." A refund request can feel like a verdict. The book pushes back hard on that story. A bad outcome is a result, not a diagnosis. You can pick it up, turn it in your hands, and pull out what helps. Maybe your timeline was fantasy. Maybe you skipped discovery calls. Maybe you hired a star who didn't fit the team's heartbeat. Whatever it is, isolate the lesson and make it procedural. Bake it into your next checklist, into your hiring scorecard, into your onboarding, into your weekly review. When you do that, the sting becomes a system. Over time, your systems become a safety net that catches you even when you fall hard. You don't need to be fearless to win. You need to be repairable. Now, let's bring these ideas to life with a few scenes and mirrors from the journey this book describes. Imagine launching a product that looked fantastic on paper and failed embarrassingly in public. Most people would hide. The smarter move is to run toward the feedback, like a firefighter to smoke. Was the promise unclear? Were you selling to the wrong person? Did you try to leap a staircase when one step was enough? You call 10 customers and ask awkward, generous questions. You hear the same friction point 7 times. That's your next sprint. Or picture assembling a team that clicks culturally but can't ship. You don't rant, you re-architect. Clear roles, fewer priorities, daily retrieval practice on what done means here. Or consider the opposite, a team of brilliant outliers who perform like lone wolves. You install rituals that make collaboration feel like a win. Demos, pair builds, praise that lands in public and in private. In each case, the pattern is the same. Mistakes become maps when you decide to mind them. The book also leans into courage in unglamorous forms. Courage to ask for help before it's a crisis. Courage to renegotiate a partnership that stopped working. Courage to take a respectful no and keep showing up anyway. Courage to say, "I don't know yet," out loud, because guessing would waste everyone's time. There's a tenderness in that kind of courage. It's not swagger, it's stewardship of your team's trust your customer's attention, your limited hours. When you lead like that, people breathe easier around you. They do their best work because they feel safe enough to be honest and brave enough to try. Another thread that runs through these pages is pace. Not speed for its own sake, but the tempo that fits the season you're in. There's a time to sprint and a time to build your lungs. There's a time to narrow to one problem and a time to widen your aperture and scan the horizon. If you treat every week like the last mile of a marathon, you'll burn out on mile 5. The wiser path is to set a pace you can keep. Make recovery an input, not a reward. Protect 2 blocks a week for deep work. Protect 1 block for thinking like an owner instead of a firefighter. Leaders who last treat rest like a business strategy, not a guilty pleasure. The returns are obvious: better decisions, fewer unforced errors, and a steadier team. Let's talk about money without the drama. Money in this book isn't presented as a scoreboard. It's a lagging indicator of choices you stacked day after day. Mistakes with money are inevitable. Overspending on a shiny tool, underinvesting in a crucial hire, pricing in a way that hides the value instead of revealing it. The way through is clarity. Know your key levers. Know your runway. Know what you'll cut first if the storm hits. And if you're new to this, keep your experiments cheap and your promises small until you trust your numbers. You can be bold and prudent at the same time. In fact, the boldest builders often are. There's also a deeply human undercurrent here: identity beyond achievement. If you tie your worth to your wins, every dip feels like drowning. The book encourages a quieter, sturdier identity, one anchored in who you're becoming, not just what you're producing. That identity says, I am the kind of person who learns. I am the kind of person who shows up. I am the kind of person who tells the truth fast. It's not flashy, it's reliable. And reliability is magnetic in a world that spins. As we round this out, gather the threads. Own your story. Redefine failure. Choose people wisely. Pivot with judgment. Turn stings into systems. Set a pace that lets you last. Handle money like a steward. Anchor your worth deeper than outcomes. None of this is complicated, but all of it is costly in the best way. It costs ego. It costs excuses. It costs the comfort of pretending. What you get back is agency.
So here's your 1-minute recap, the kind you can carry into the next hard week. Mistakes aren't the price you pay for trying. They're your tuition. Your highlight reel matters because your brain believes what it sees. The middle isn't a punishment. It's your training ground. People compound your future faster than ideas ever will. Choose the ones who keep their promises. Adapt, but don't flail. Test small, decide fast, learn faster. When you fall, don't name yourself after the fall. Name the lesson and put it to work. And remember, someone is sitting at a kitchen table right now, choosing their next move. That someone might be you. Before we close, I want to bring you back to that first image. A plain table, a blinking cursor, a quiet room. The world insists that this is nothing. But if you can hear it, there's a hum there, a low, steady invitation. The next line you write is a choice, not between success and failure, but between hiding and building. If this book offers one gift, it's the courage to build anyway. If this spoke to you, here's what I want you to do next. In one sentence, drop a comment with the smallest mistake you're ready to turn into a lesson this week. Keep it concrete and kind to yourself. Then, if you want to go deeper on turning ideas into outcomes, tap the video on the right about execution and momentum. Share this with one person who's stuck at their own kitchen table tonight, and save it for the day you need the reminder. We're building a community that doesn't pretend. We learn out loud here. Join us.